The meeting is being audio and visually recorded. Need for executive session?
No.
Hearing none, I would ask if everyone has had a chance to review the meetings from the October 23rd meeting, and if there are any corrections to be made.
I make a motion to adopt the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously. Domestic relations. Judge, would you like to explain the rate increase request?
Well, it's two things. It's a rate increase request, and it's actually changing a position from a union to executive position, more or less, because the basis administrator was developed when a computer system was just implemented in 1998. It later became a statewide system, and the duties have changed. And from the directive's perspective, the concern is that Carrie, who currently fulfills the position, has to have knowledge of all of the aspects of the system, and she trains everyone on how to use the system. So it really is more of a management responsibility. Didn't start out that way because they really weren't sure. It was just kind of a conduit for the person in Harrisburg. There was a person in Warren that could do the job, but now it's much more than that. The increase is minimal, I think, from her current salary. One of the concerns that Denny raised is that she's part of the union negotiating team at this time.
Mm-hmm.
However, I spoke with her ahead of time, and she's just an observer. She's not actually a steward.
She's still part of the union, though. She is a union member. She's part of the union.
Okay. If she became
That would be up
management.
to the Pennsylvania Department of Labor. We can't just pull somebody out of the union.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the challenges with that is that we have to meet with the union, have a conversation with them, explain to them what we're going to do, and propose it first of all.
That's why I wanted to understand. I understood that to reclassify the position, I needed to come to salary board first. Is that incorrect?
Well, I think that actually it's kind of two separate issues to some
Okay.
degree. I mean, it's not wrong to bring this to salary board. It's more that as part of the union part of it is that you, to some degree, we have to get their blessing on the whole situation. Otherwise, there's a chance for a grievance or some kind of,
Sure.
or you literally can't legally do it. Like there has to be some work done with them. And then, as Pam stated, as far as labor relations go, it has to be okayed, like in the sense that there's like a criteria, like a handful of things.
I'm wondering then if the better way to do it might be to create the position and have people bid on it. Is
That's possible too. Honestly, your best, this is under SCIU. We've had very good conversations with them about it. So
Okay.
my
Be
recommendation.
clear now about this
Yeah.
issue.
No. Yeah, in other scenarios where we felt like a position was administrative in nature and that there would be an opportunity to have someone become non-union. If you talk to them, they can really help you work through this in order to get it on their end where it needs to go.
Okay.
And then once they're comfortable with it and it fits under the auspices and regulations of the system, then that's when it would probably be brought to the salary board in order to.
So this is premature in your opinion. That's what I'm trying to understand.
Yeah. Just technically we could do this technically, but you wouldn't. There'd be a chance that they'd either file a grievance or have some issue with it.
Okay.
Particularly in the middle of our union negotiations. So maybe what would make the most sense would be for less than a majority of the board to create some sort of a committee, e.g. the judge and one of the commissioners go meet with the union and discuss this position specifically and come up with an action plan from there. Does that make sense?
I'm really not certain. So what you're suggesting is not the union, but the local is who we want to meet with, is that
You
correct?
start meeting, I think you start to meet with the union, and then, depending on whether it looks like it can get through the union, then we would have to go meet with the people in Pittsburgh, right?
Well,
We would need to go through Mark. There's certain steps that, in order for a position to be non-union, there's certain things that they have to meet, and if they don't meet them,
Okay,
we
fine. I'm
can't
just trying to
fight to
understand
keep
the
them,
process.
you know, if they don't supervise people,
Yeah,
the
then
first
they
step
have to
would
stay in
be
the union.
meeting with,
Was it during?
with Fran.
Oh, yeah.
We'll
Well-
be meeting with the student within the courthouse, because honestly, you'll get a quicker response from them if it's gonna take some time. Their representation is down in Georgia or Wisconsin or wherever. So Fran will be the first one to talk to, and then go from there.
okay. I'm trying to just understand the process better, because if I were told that, I would have wasted your time this morning.
Absolutely.
No, we have to have this discussion really in public anyway, so.
I would be willing to make a motion to table this until the judge has had the appropriate meetings and discussions in order to bring it back to vote on.
Okay, I hear a motion to table.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
I would just add that I would be more than happy to meet with the union along with Judge Skirta if she so is interested in that.
Okay, we'll work something out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we should probably do that during this season of negotiations so that we can kind of throw it into the package, if you would.
Yes.
So let's count on doing that in the next couple of weeks. Very good. Any further discussion? There's a motion to table. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Carries unanimously. You also have a full-time office manager for juvenile probation on the agenda.
The position is entry, I believe there's no issue here.
There is no issue. There's actually a 5% increase for Danielle. The only thing that has changed is the date. Keith had put on here for the 27th. But Danielle has talked to John to see if there's any way that the salary board would approve her going up on the 20th so that she would have at least a few days to work with Jerry.
She's a current employee, is that
Yep.
okay with her supervisor at this point? Because it's less than 2 weeks' notice, just as a courtesy to the other department.
She was to talk to her supervisor, and I have not heard. I'm sure it's not going to be a problem,
Okay,
but then we would, work that out.
And this doesn't have to take effect on the day she couldn't apply for the 27th. We couldn't pass it as the 27th and then revert it back to the 20th.
Sure,
However,
I understand. I just have a concern in terms of just being fair to
Understood.
everyone involved. That's my concern.
yeah, I think we, as the salary board, have the authority to do that because it's an intertransfer. However, I agree that the courtesy is critical. So, I would entertain a motion with the effective date being the 20th, with the understanding, I suppose, that the courtesy would be extended to the Proton Chair's office to extend that to the 27th.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to hire Danielle Gardner effective November 20th, 2017, at a salary of $10.98 an hour, full-time, union with benefits, and this is 35 or 40 hours a week.
Mrs. 35, President Kelly. I was thinking juvenile was 40, I might be wrong.
I'd have to look. I know the caseworkers work 40, but I'm not sure about Jerry.
I believe him and Catherine both work 40.
Okay.
The whole together
Yeah.
is 40,
Yeah.
as I understand it.
Okay, full-time union, meaning
And
40.
the probation officers are, what is that? Okay.
Yeah, I believe, I'm confident that the probation officers in that department are too, if that's in 80 hours, or days of hours. So there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion about the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Time off request. I believe our Human Resources Director has requested a 5-day vacation in the month of December. Not paid, correct?
Correct.
He came in a management position, but regardless of that, he was still given the regular SEIU contract, meaning that he doesn't have any vacation time built up yet. So until we change that policy, he doesn't have vacation. So I would entertain a motion to allow him up to 5 days personal time off without pay in the month of December.
So moved.
A second?
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Anything else to bring to the board? Very good. The next meeting is November 27th, and at this time in this place, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.